Hey gang, Mocha Boy here. Welcome back. So yeah, it's been a little bit of time since the last episode, but to be honest, you play a game this long, and you finally hit all of those objectives that you had set for yourself so long ago. There's a point where you're just like, I think you just want to take a break and not do anything, just veg out. No, don't farm, don't war. Just go in and kind of relax. And a couple of days turned into five, five turned into 10, and then before you knew it, it had been like almost like a week and a half before I wanted to come back into the game. But and it's also summer, so vacation with the kids, that whole thing. But yeah, I decided it was probably time to come back and start hitting wars. And of course, the first war that I'm back with the clan, after about a week and a half of not playing, we match one of the other RWCS. One of the best RWCS clans out there, and that was Dragon Rejects. And if you haven't heard of Dragon Rejects, first thing I would say is get your head out from underneath the rock. But I personally have a special respect for this clan, specifically because of the time that they take to share the knowledge that they have with the community in general. They probably don't get the kudos that they deserve or the exposure that they deserve for the amount of information that they put out there. But they have a great thread over on Supercell with all of their videos, and Thunderclap has put together a great viewing list for anyone who's interested in learning clan wars and learning the basics of clan wars as well as the advanced stuff. I mean, it's great content, and I understand like One Hive is all the rage, but there are a lot of really small YouTubers out there that put out a lot of great content, and this is definitely one of those clans. So I mean, like I said, we knew we were in for a big fight, and everyone was just rabid at and foaming at the mouth to get into this war and show their stuff. And if you look back in our history, I actually spent some time over at that clan. When they were matched up against a ghosting team, we were just out there documenting all of the ghost attacks. And this was prior to the free play patch announcement from Supercell. But we were actually in the process of scrimmaging another clan, and we spent like half a day working out the war weights. Sent some of our people over to the other clan. They sent us some of their folks, and of course, instead of matching with that scrimmage clan for an arranged war, we ended up matching up with Dragon Rejects. So very, very exciting matchup for us. We were pumped. We were pumped to the hilt. Every person in the clan was really looking forward to this matchup. I guess I had a little bit of an advantage knowing how well these guys attacked, and the guys over at DR know I did not copy your bases. I told you I would not do that, and I did not do that. But I did know what great attackers you guys were. So I was prepping everybody to tell them. I said, you guys got to bring your A game, and bring their A game. They did. The final tally, stats wise, 88 to 77. We pulled away with 28 3-stars, 28 3-star attacks to their 17, with an average destruction of 98.7. No thanks to a couple of my fails. But interestingly enough, we had about 16 fresh 3-stars, which is I think a record for us. We normally average somewhere in the 12 or 13 range, but yeah, we hit 16 bases fresh for 3-stars. And that really helped to put us ahead in the star count early on. And one of the other interesting things were on defenses. We had 2 bases that incurred a total of 8 visits total. So we'll take a look. Let me just flash. Let me see if I can find these guys here. So yeah, this Mason pulled in 4 attacks, and then Ribosome. Just going to flash the bases, but not the traps, obviously. That was the other base. Both of those bases incurred 4 attacks, soaking up 8 hits total between the two of them. So MVP on defense definitely goes to Ribosome and Mason. Now, on the other opposite end of the star count, we had a record number of 6-packs. So we had, I think, 7 players post six-star wars. Eon Blade, Mercutio, Wangstar 2.0, he's one of our 9.5s, probably going to be like a 10.25 or 9.75, whatever, a Town Hall 9 defensive TH11 is by the time he's done. Sananor posted 6th there. Twitch came in with not just a 6-pack, but 2 fresh 3s, so great job there. Nomis also coming in with a 6-pack there, and then Apollos, the Our grand leader posted a nice six star war. So I think that was everybody. But everybody, brought their A game. We had plenty of attacks going into the final hours of the war, and we were able to come away with the win for this. And now we are going to look at 7 attacks, and I will go through these as quickly as possible, but I chose these 7 attacks to show something specific in every single one of these wars. So this isn't just, this isn't just me narrating through those attacks. There was something interesting that I picked up in each of those attacks that I wanted to share with you guys. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So the first attack we're going to look at is my attack. Now I'm in the number 1 position, which always sucks because if you screw up, everybody no one ever forgets. I was up against their number 1, and mind you, what made this even more embarrassing was that this was the second hit, so we already knew what was in the CC, and I had a plan for dealing with it. I just made a couple of key mistakes, and things just kind of unraveled right after that. So the first pass on this base was with an AQ walk from the north, and then a kill team from the west. I decided to try to get a little fancy here, and I started in the northwest, which presented some problems right away because the interesting thing about the AQ walk is if you can take the defenses in a certain order, you can make it so that just 4 healers with no rage is enough to survive the walk. But because I took those defenses head on, she got down dangerously low, and unfortunately I had to burn that rage a little earlier than I wanted. I had to burn my ability. I was able to pull out the CC, but instead of going for the AQ, for some reason, the golem decided he wanted to go north. So that golem is heading for a pack of Valkyries right now. And then there's two splash defenses, as well as the Eagle artillery. And here it comes. Boom, boom, boom. Golem's gone. Valk's gone. There's just nothing there but PK. And that was the end of my raid. So yeah, all of that planning, for one half a second mistake, and yeah, that just did not end well for me. So I guess the PSA there is, if you're going to pull that golem out of the castle, make sure he's going where you want him to go before you start your attack. So that was my epic fail of the war. Now the attack that finally did 2-star this base, and I think this is probably like the fifth pass on this base, only the 3rd one from Town Hall 10 or above, but we had a couple of our TH9s test out the base as well. The attack that finally did 2-star this base came in from our number 3, and this was essentially just a replication of the first attack, which was an AQ walk from the north with a couple of minions over on the northeast side to set up the funnel. Now the thing to note here is if you can count up the defenses and the order that she engages them in, you can actually survive that walk from the north all the way down to the west point, to the west corner, without a rage, without a spell. And that's only because of how fast she was able to put down the trash buildings, how fast she was able to put down the defenses, and then get that recharge before she moves on to the next defense. She was able to survive that entire wall without a spell. So just something to consider there with this Dragonflower style base. And then as far as the push into the core, 4 quakes just to open up those 5 pockets and damage the eagle. It's a great trade for the spells that you're dropping. And one of the things that he does a little differently here than what I do is I typically drop my Grand Warden first, and that's and then get the Valks in behind. That's partly to ensure that they stay in the aura so that when he pops his tome, that they're all protected. And as you can see there, he popped the tome, but only the bottom left-hand crew really had any protection. But he did save that freeze for the back end. Might have been better off with the jump. I mean, there's no really way to know. He still was able to just about pull 80% on this base. So I mean, it was a successful attack no matter how you look at it. He did come in with some back end hogs, hoping at least that that Inferno would have gone down, that the healers might have peeled off, and that the hogs could have gone in to finish off the rest of the base. But like I said, we got the 2-star, and we ended up completing the clear of the board. So all of the TH9s, all of the TH9.5s, all cleared, and then 2 stars on the TH10s and the 1 TH11. So yeah, again, great attack there from no, you guys and your crazy names. This attack comes in from Andy. Andy's one of our he's one of our heavy hitters, and he was taking on a town hall 9.5. And let's see, we'll go into double speed here. The 30-second scout with, oops, hang on a second here. The 30-second scout with this base. Now, the interesting thing about 9.5s is that we've been seeing is that sometimes they run Tesla farms on the sides, but increasingly what we've been seeing are Tesla farms protecting the AQ, and especially in the case where you have lots of high hit point defenses around her. That wasn't necessarily the case here, but it did cause. I mean, it caused some interesting pathing issues with the way that this base was laid out. You've got the AQ in an island over here, and then what is essentially a counterclockwise run through the base. So he had a very interesting spell selection with 2 rages and 3 jumps. This is for 9.5s or 10s hitting low on 9s that present themselves with this type of pathing. This is completely a viable path, because what ends up happening is the entire crew stays together through as they march through the base, rather than splitting up and then getting picked off by long range defenses. So he starts off with the AQ walk there. Nothing too crazy here. He did lose that funneling wizard, but she ended up going in the direction that he wanted to anyway. And just so you note there, that distance here between this wall and that wall, that's only 3 tiles, so this wizard tower totally within range of that AQ walk. So something to consider there if you're doing base design. As far as the rest of the attack, that one jump bridges 5 compartments rather. The second jump again bridges another 5 compartments. Everything stays together. The wizard take out what's in the CC, which were, I believe, minions and loons, and then that last jump bridges the last 5 compartments. I mean, this was just a perfect base for this type of attack, and he was able to roll through this base without too much trouble. He's got both of his heroes up, as well as the Valks. Plenty of cleanup, plenty of time, to take this base down, and a perfect application of this jumping ginger strategy. These jumping ginger ninjas. I've actually done this attack on other types of bases with 2 rages and 3 jumps. Very fun to do when you find the right base to apply that against. So great job there. Now the next replay came in from Mael or Mael. He is a recent addition to the clan. He came in with 30 heroes. But he's been doing just a bang-up job in wars. Now, the interesting thing about this attack wasn't so much the attack itself, which was beautiful, but the thing that I wanted to point out, and this was more for the Red Force guys or for the attackers, is that the Tesla farm in this particular case was on the north side of the base, and he guessed right from the start where the Tesla farm was. So that's 4 Teslas up there, but what we also saw were a cluster of skeleton traps, and that's absolutely murderously deadly for any type of surgical hog attack, especially if you pick wrong. If he had decided to AQ walk any other side of this base, this attack would have failed, simply because those 4 Tesla, those quad Teslas would have chewed up the hogs, and whatever was left would have gotten picked off by the cluster of skeleton traps that was left. And you'll see them pop right after he takes down this air defense. But let's see, 1 trap, 2 trap. That's like, what is that? 10 plus skeletons all beating down on a group of hogs. It's a very good defensive feature on what would normally be a very unassuming base. But if you're designing your bases and you've got that Tesla farm, and you've put that in a place that's not really susceptible to an AQ walk, load those up with the skeleton traps, because we've seen this time and time again. You're doing a great job on the AQ walk, and then all of a sudden, 2 skeleton traps pop up out of nowhere right next to a Tesla farm, and then your hogs get murdered. And I'm talking like 6 to 10 hogs can get murdered in the flash of an eye if you're not careful there. But as far as the rest of the attack's concerned, really high value EQ right in the core, gets him access to the core of the base as well as the rest of the base. And then those Valks, they fight their way out of the base, they fight their way back into the base. They take advantage of the heals that were left over, popping double giant bombs all along the way. And again, one of the great things and the mark of a good attacker is knowing when to drop those hogs, so that the point defenses are being tanked, and they're otherwise distracted, which gives the hogs free reign to go in there and just wreck the base. But one of the great things with the way that this attack developed was that everything stayed together. And typically, when you run into the core, if you haven't set up the base properly, things will split up. They'll go north, they'll go east, they'll go south, and then everything will just get picked off because they have no support from any other troops. So in this particular case, I mean, he was able to keep pretty much all of his Valks to the end. along with most of his hogs. A couple of them got picked off by bombs and whatever else, but absolutely wrecked that base. So great job with that attack, Mal. Now, next attack comes in from Astro, and Astro is actually yet another recent addition to the clan. He is a 9.5, so he's a new Town Hall 10, but he's got that 5th spell. And he's got the extra. I believe he's got the extra capacity. And as this attack unfolds, this is an AQ walk go va ho. So if you folks are fans of the academies that we've run in the past, this is a textbook attack of how an AQ healer go va ho attack would take place, and that's picking a wall to walk, setting up the funnel, picking your breach point. The breach point's going to be in the west, and note that we typically choose sides away from the AQ. I mean, I say typically because you look at the base and you try to figure out where the Tesla farms are, and you make a guess. And sometimes you guess right, sometimes you guess wrong. In this case, he guessed right, and that it was in the core of the base, the core, like the northwest side, just right by that north whiz tower. So yeah, he's got that wall taken down, starting up his funnel or the other edge of the funnel. The wall breakers come in there on the west side. He'll get that jump right in that middle compartment there, bridging 4 compartments, and then here come the Valks. And this is always the best part because this is where the fireworks start. And already the bomb disposal team is going into action, taking down the traps, taking down the Teslas, taking down the double giant bombs and giant bombs wherever they are. That leaves the hog cleanup crew free to go do whatever it is that they do. So 50% of the base down, Tesla farm is down, all the bombs but 1 are down, and this base is about to be KO'd in short order because without those key defensive structures, and this is the role of the kill team if you think about it in terms of what it is that they're supposed to accomplish as they march through the base. Take out the AQ, pull out the CC and deal with them, take out the double giant bombs, take out the Tesla farm. If you can do those 4 things before the hogs enter onto the map, then you'll have a very good chance of 3-starring the bases. And again, as far as approaches go, this was a textbook go Vaho attack with an AQ healer opening. If you've seen a lot of the academy attacks that we've done in the past, the script always runs like that. Like you pick the walk, you pick the breach points, pick the funnel points, try to disable bombs, disable Tesla farms, disable whatever you can before the hogs make it onto the field. And then if you can do that, then you end up with this many troops on the board towards the end for a 3-star. So great job there, Astro. Replay comes in from Mav55, and he's one of our top Town Hall 9s, comes in with 30-30 heroes. He's going to do a split hero go Vaho, so AQ on the south to take out the AQ as well as pull out the CC and deal with them. He's got 2 poisons to help out with that. So nothing too crazy here, just a couple of wizards to set up the funnel, a couple of wall breakers to get access to that south compartment as well as the AQ. And AQ's already down because of her proximity to the edge. She was able, Mav's AQ had enough health to take her down without having to burn a spell. And then, that 1 golem to help tank what comes out of the CC, and Loon, couple Valks, some archers, no big deal. The golem bomb takes out most of the ground troops, and then the poison takes care of what's left. And the AQ's free to, go into cleanup mode at that point. So BK's up on the top, or rather in the north, also tanked by another golem. His job was to take out the defending BK, which he was able to do no problem because the defending BK is keyed on the golem tank. But then here's where things start to go crazy. Tesla farm pop, no big deal, but watch those Valks here. And then they go to target that wall, and then look at the BK. Rather than go for that elixir pump, that elixir pump, he decides to go and focus in on the wall that the Valks damaged, and then starts to fight his way into the base. This is something that we would never have predicted happening because there's just no way to, you don't see something like this until you watch the replay. But yeah, very strange. And then at this point, I think all of his hogs had been deployed. They had been killed off by any number of different things, either skeleton traps or heavy DPS. So he encountered a Tesla as well as the skeletons over on the right hand side. Completely lost all of his hogs, and all he has at this point is his kill team, which is just the the golem and his heroes trying to fight their way through the base. And then you know, like I said, every now and again things just work out in your favor, and this is one of those cases where maybe it's a level 29 AQ would not have done this, and his 30-30 heroes were able to pull him through, but he was literally able to get this down to the last second for the 3-star. So great job there, recovering from what was otherwise a crazy set of deployment issues there. Now only got a couple more here left to go, but I wanted to show I always love showing attacks from Nomis because Nomis is such a technical attacker, and when Nomis came to us, he was I believe he said he was something like the only hogger in his clan, which and he wanted to take his 3-star game to the next level, and not only did he take it to the next level, but he's gone beyond, and now he's advising all of the other players. He's also a co-lead here. It's about as successful as a success story as you can craft without writing one. And Nomis has just been great in that respect. Now, in this particular case, he's going to be coming in with a Go-Va attack with back-end loons, so no hogs, but he's going to take on this defensive ring. The things to point in this attack are, or the things to point out in this attack are where the air defenses are, the fact that the West AD is with the AQ, and he's going to use his AQ to take out a good portion of the southeast and east portions of the base, and use what's left of his kill team up in the north to march over towards the AQ. But then once all of those air defenses go down, and his AQ is responsible for taking out 2 plus the Tesla farm plus pull out the CC, the northern KS team is responsible for taking out that other air defense, and then as soon as he can get his Valks to breach into the core to take out some of those remaining defenses, all he'll have to do is just pop in what's left of his loons and clean up. So here come the Valks. That last air defense goes down. That one last jump gets him access to the core pockets. AQ is still up. She's taking down a good portion of the base's defenses as well as the Tesla farm. But as soon as the Valks break through that wall, they just touch the AQ, she disintegrates. That air defense is going to go down, and then here come the loons. And this is just beautiful. 1 loon apiece for each one of the cannons, 2 for the archer towers, and then whatever else is left. But again, that AQ is still up. She's still marching around. That last Expo is tanked. He had a heal here, didn't even really need it, but anything to recharge those Valks to take on the rest of the base. And then at this point, it's just a slow roll. It's just a slow roll to get what's remaining of those defenses, or of those offensive troops on those last 2 defenses to take out what's left of the space. So just an absolutely beautiful attack. I believe this was a follow-up attack on what was originally a 2-star attack, or 2-star hit. So just phenomenal hit. Great job there, Nomis. All right, so the last attack, we're going to look at one of the attacks that came from one of our six-pack heroes, Twitch. Now, the thing I wanted to point out with this, and this was just again to reinforce that point that I mentioned earlier about the skeleton reinforced Tesla farms. And you're going to see that happen up in the north-hand corner. So nothing too crazy here with the opener. It's going to be an AQ walk from the east into the heroes. He's got his 2 poisons, and then her job's going to be to take out the BK, to take out the AQ, to take out the CC. Nothing too crazy defensive-wise in the core. I mean, there's only a level 1 Expo, not many point defenses. Just with those 4 healers, she's going to be able to go in there and just completely clear out that east compartment, that southeast compartment, as well as probably a good portion of the core. So that was a good scout from his point of view on knowing where to send the AQ so that she could kind of do her work and do her magic. As far as the rest of the attacks concerned, the Valks are going to come in from the northeast, and then work their way counterclockwise throughout the base, tripping as many bombs as they possibly could. But there goes that first set of bombs, along with the heal just to recharge those Valks, along with the jump to get them. But then here come the support hogs in just about a second. You're going to see them coming in from the north. First Tesla pops, so some extra hogs go down. First skeleton trap pops, another Tesla pops. And then as they start to move in through the base, you see another skeleton trap pop. And mind you, that was like 6 hogs. 6 hogs against 4 defenses. Typically that would not be a problem, but they absolutely got murdered. And the success of any Go-Va raid requires you to keep those hogs alive for as long as possible. And if that means using something to tank for them or whatever. And the only saving grace here was that he had his Valks recharged from the eastern breach point, and they were able to run in and then finish off what was left of that pocket. But this is one of those things that could have easily gone south if he didn't have higher level troops, or had not brought a heal to recharge some of those troops. So this wasn't so much to showcase the attack so much as it was to showcase the defense and the defensive layouts of some of the better bases that we've seen here. And you got to watch out for those Tesla farms if you can. If at all possible, use your kill teams to disable those Tesla farms, but also to pull down those traps. Because if you send those hogs into those, even to just 2 Teslas, if those 2 Teslas are backed by skeleton traps, they're going to get cooked real fast. So, again, just great job there with that attack, Twitch. So that about wraps it up, folks. I know there's some exciting things coming down the wire. We've got notice from Supercell that the patch might be tomorrow, and then God knows how much more content's going to be coming our way. And I made the mistake of proclaiming to the world that I was going to be done with farming. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case, because we've got at least a couple new troops coming our way, along with some new spells, and then all of the permutations of tactics that come from those types of updates. I mean, I think it's great what Supercell is doing. I think it's more than most people can handle or even absorb at this point. But there was a point in time in the past where I would have said, if you want to stay 9 forever, completely go ahead and do that. Don't worry about it. But they're adding so much content to the top end of the game that they've addressed a lot of the balance issues. If you're farming in the right ranges, they've addressed a lot of the loot issues. I mean, they have been making a lot of the right decisions, especially at least if you're a person who's focused in on wars. With the fair play announcement and the bans for people who are modding. I mean, it's just been really great things coming in from Supercell. So I guess the PSA there is, if you want to stay 9, completely go ahead and do that. It's still a lot of fun. There is a lot more content coming in at Town Hall 10, and if you have the druthers to go and farm up those upgrades, there's a lot of fun to be had. TH11 still needs, it's still got some issues there, but for the most part, I think everything's trending in the right direction. And I still see, with the update coming, some of the balancing exercises are going to balance out the power of the Valks, at least at the top end, and that's coming in by way of the upgrades to the cannons as well as the upgrades to the spring traps. So we may see, but again, they're going to be balancing out the Valks, but they're introducing all of these other new troops, which are going to spawn God knows how many new types of hybrid strategies. So very interested to see how that all plays out in the future. So yeah, just stay tuned. One of the things that I am personally most interested in are the friendly challenges. For a fact that we're going to be testing like 1 million different things against 100 different bases. So definitely look forward to that, and we're very interested in that feature alone for the Red Force Academy aspect of it, training members up in how to attack certain types of bases, and lessons to be learned from certain types of bases. So personally, I'm the most excited about that feature. So yeah, that's about it. Again, if you made it this far, thanks for sticking through with us, and stay tuned for more content.